Troy. I'm assuming everyone here is under the age of 26 and are still claimed on your parents' health care. I'm going to be talking about Obamacare, specifically the cost that keeping everyone covered until they're 26 on their parents' insurance. So everyone should be covered. If your parents don't have insurance, you also don't. I know the school provides coverage, but for those that aren't in school, they have no coverage. So 30% of young adults today between the ages of 18 and 26 were going uncovered until Obamacare became law in September of 2010. And the reason that this was causing the cost went up were because people that were uninsured, if they go to an emergency room, they can't be denied they can't be denied care. But if they are unable to pay it, the costs get turned over onto the costs are turned over to insurance providers. It kind of works the same way as car insurance. People who drive around without car insurance, cause those that are getting accidents with those people who have insurance, makes their rates go up. And for parents, if that's one of the big worries, it does the CNN Money reports that insurance will only increase, their premiums will only increase by about 0.7%, which when it comes to insurance, that it's not a gigantic increase, it's one that's doable, especially to keep children covered while they're either in school or looking for a job. And then for those parents who don't have coverage through work, the average cost will to keep your children covered would be about $3,500 per year, all of which is tax deductible, so you wouldn't actually end up paying that out of pocket. Most companies, however, said that they will cover the costs or create plans to help create plans that may increase the workers that will increase the workers' portion that they have to cover, but not significantly. And then, even if your parents do not have health insurance, you yourself would be able to find affordable health insurance. It would the healthcare website said that various packages will be offered to students or young adults around about $100 a month, and up to $2,600 would be tax deductible, which again would allow students or young adults to be able to cover themselves, and they could choose depending on how much coverage they thought they needed. Overall, the costs that will be induced by this coverage will, everything will go up, but eventually it'll balance out because emergency room visits for uninsured young adults will go down, which means the costs will go down for that.
Thank you. All right, Troy, we know what the subject area is, but it's not very clear what the proposition is. The argument that is the clearest in your presentation is that this should not substantially increase costs. But it wasn't clear that that's what your whole point was. The whole beginning of the speech just talks about this setup. I thought you had a nice setup. Here's a situation that people might be in. You've probably heard about this. And then I'm waiting for you to make a claim about it, and I never really heard a claim about it. In the body of the speech, there are a couple of pieces of information that talk about why the costs should not be particularly high, and I think that that's the clearest of the supporting claims in the argument. But other than that, you don't really have a structure of those supporting points, and as a consequence, it's very hard to tell what the long-term inference is that you want us to draw. That was the only thing that I thought was at all clear in the speech, that you thought that it was going to be relatively inexpensive. At one point, for instance, you're talking about the availability of health insurance to people to be able to buy it for themselves or get it at a low price. How is that related to having them be able to get their parents access to their parents' health insurance? That sounds like it's a completely separate issue. So it doesn't really support or advance the claim that you're talking about here. Internal structure, like I said, needs to be a little bit sharper. You had one statistic about the number of people who are uncovered. And I thought that was a pretty good statistic. What we need to see now is some information about how many more are covered as a consequence of the change in the law. And I didn't hear any information about that, that there is, in fact, been a groundswell of people signing up for this, or parents keeping their kids on for longer, or any of those sorts of things. And I think you need to have some information on that. For instance, later on in the argument, you make the claim that under 26 people go into emergency rooms to take care of this. That puts a cost or a burden on society. And immediately my question was, well, do you have any data that shows that these are the people that are causing that particular cost? How many emergency room visits were there by people who are under 26 because they didn't have this health care coverage, between the ages of 18 and 26? That seems to be one of those things that is missing from the argument. So you're all around the subject. You explain some of the concepts, but the only inference that is at all clear is the one on the cost issue. All right, thank you.